as a statement of truth. Subject to one small change I know you wish to make is this. But didn't it pass your mind that this sort of journalism carried with it ethical risks?
The ethical risk was something, and the legal risk around that was something that was very much in the hands of the editor, and the decisions on things like public interest and the like were things that, you know, the editor, in consultation with legal advice, was there. I wasn't in the business of deciding, you know, what to put in the newspapers.
The Max Mosley case in particular, well, there are two aspects to it. One, the result, and secondly, the large legal bill.
The editor had asserted that the story was both true and in the public interest, and it was later found by the court to be neither. And that was something that's a matter of great regret, and something, you know, the story shouldn't have been run. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Was there an element here
was there an element?
of the ends justifying the means?
I believe very passionately in that actually the way we do business is part and parcel of the connection that we have with our customers and the communities that we're in. And I think it's important to note that in the end, the profitability of the News of the World did not save it.
You were not shown the four-level email at that meeting of the 10th of June.
That is correct, yes. And that remains my position. I stand by that testimony.
Was your relationship with them such that they may think, well, we needn't bother him with that, or we better keep it from him because he'll ask us to cut out the cancer?
That must be it, that I would say cut out the cancer, and there was some desire to not do that.
Mr. Myler was drawing your attention to that very fact, so at the very least you could ingest it, take it on board.
My experience of dealing with Mr. Myler on this issue and Mr. Crone was actually that there wasn't a proactive desire to bring me up to speed on those things. If there had been, the meeting would have occurred in April when they first, or May or whenever it was, when they first saw the evidence coming through in the Taylor case.
Either you were told about the evidence which linked others at News of the World to Mulcair, and that this was in effect a cover-up, or you weren't told, or you didn't read your emails properly.
I've been very, very clear on this point of what I was told at the time, the eagerness that these people had to settle this case, as you've mentioned. And I was told sufficient information to authorize them to go and negotiate at a higher level, and I was not told sufficient information to go and turn over a whole bunch of stones that I was told had already been turned over. I was given repeated assurances, as I've said, that these practices, that the newsroom had been investigated, that there was no evidence. I was given the same assurances as they gave outside. I've been very consistent about it.
The News of the World, in particular, is characterized maybe by a cavalier or swashbuckling attitude to risk, because that was almost inherent in its brand.
I don't think I would say that it's inherent in its brand, but I do think that, you know, knowing what we know now about the culture at the News of the World in 2006, for example, and well, at least that we know about the alleged widespread nature of these poor practices, that it must have been cavalier about risk, and I think that's a matter of huge regret.